لتعلن علوا كبيرا فإذا جاء وعد أولاهما بعثنا عليكم عبادا لنا أولي بأس شديد فجاسوا خلال الديار وكان وعدا مفعولا ثم رددنا لكم الكرة عليهم وأمددناكم بأموال وبنين وجعلناكم أكثر نفيرا إن أحسنتم أحسنتم لأنفسكم وإن أسأتم فلها فإذا جاء وعد الآخرة ليسوءوا وجوهكم وليدخلوا المسجد كما دخلوه أول مرة وليتبروا ما علوا تتبيرا عسى ربكم أن يرحمكم وإن عدتم عدنا وجعلنا جهنم للكافرين حصيرا إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا كبيرا وأن الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة اعتدنا لهم عذابا أليما ويدعو الإنسان بالشر دعاءه بالخير وكان الإنسان عجولا وجعلنا الليل والنهار آيتين فمحونا آية الليل وجعلنا آية النهار مبصرة لتبتغوا فضلا من ربكم ولتعلموا عدد السنين والحساب وكل شيء فصلناه تفصيلا وكل إنسان ألزمناه طائره في عنقه ونخرج له يوم القيامة كتابا يلقاه منشورا صدق الله العلي العظيم. سورة المباركة الفاتحة.
बर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सलावत। अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा, कैदी कहता है कोई, कैदी कहता है कोई, कोई यतीमा बाबा। अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा। मैं बयां कैसे करूं अपनी मुसीबत तुमसे, क्या करूं अपने तमाचों की शिकायत तुमसे। सुनती हूँ दादी ने खाया था तमाचा बाबा। अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा। आप थे दूर तो मैं सारे सितम सहती रही, रो पड़ी कूफे के दरबार में मैं सह ना सकी। आपके सामने जब शेम्र ने मारा बाबा, अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा। नीले रुखसारों पे बैनाई भी जिसकी कम हो, उम्र हो 4 बरस और कमर में खम हो। आपने देखी है क्या ऐसी ज़ईफ़ा बाबा, अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा। खून बेशीर से अंदाज़ा किया था मैंने, आपका चेहरा तो पहचान लिया था मैंने। आप पहचानोगे कैसे मेरा चेहरा बाबा, अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा। कैदी कहता है कोई, कैदी कहता है कोई यतीमा बाबा, अब मुझे कोई सकीना नहीं कहता बाबा। सलाम।
अब किसका इंतजार है, उठो सकीना घर चलो, तुम पर फूफी निसार है, उठो सकीना घर चलो। खाकर खूं के दरमिया लाशें हैं सब बटे हुए, पहचानोगी किसे यहाँ, सर हैं सभी कटे हुए। मक्तल भी सोगवार है, उठो सकीना घर चलो। लेती हो सिस्कियाँ ये क्यों, रखना है हौसला तुम्हें, असगर के साथ खेलना आता है याद क्या तुम्हें। अब वो तहे मज़ार है, उठो सकीना घर चलो। अब किसका इंतज़ार है, उठो सकीना घर चलो। अम्मू तुम्हारे नैर पर शाने कटा के सो गए, बाबा को ढूंढती हो क्या, बाबा भी रन में सो गए। दिल उनका बेकरार है, उठो सकीना घर चलो। अब किसका इंतजार है, अम्मू तुम्हारे खुल्द से लेने ना आएंगे तुम्हें, तड़पे गला शाये जरी, जाना ना तुम तराई में। उजड़ी हुई बहार है, उठो सकीना घर चलो, अब किसका इंतजार है, उठो सकीना घर चलो। और मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु।
Assalamu alaikum. Today is the 16th of Safar and we are starting the 5-day Khamsa Majalis for the Arbaeen at this center, Razavi Community Center, to commemorate the Chelum of Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Program will inshallah continue for next 4 nights after today. Tomorrow and until Wednesday we'll start 7:15, and then on Arbaeen day we'll start early 6:45 to finish the program before the Maghrib and Isha Jamaat inshallah. Everyday program starts with the recitation, Marsiya, and then we have Brother Sayyid Ali Imran here from Toronto to recite these majalis. If you can join us on time, we can start. Today is a weekend, I understand, so please be on time and let us finish the program on time from tomorrow onwards. Sayyid Ali Imran pursued his seminary studies in Qom between 2012 to 2021. He is concurrently obtained a MA in Islamic Studies from Islamic College of London in 2018. He obtained his Master's in Education at the University of Toronto within the curriculum and pedagogy stream, and currently the principal of Al-Hadi School in Toronto. He is also an instructor for the Mufi Seminary and the Mizan Institute. We are honored to have him here for these 5 nights, and inshallah we'll be blessed with his knowledge. Also, if you have noticed, today we have the youth session with him to address the challenges that we have as a youth in this part of the world, and especially in this community we have. So let's attend all those majalis inshallah. I also encourage youth to attend these majalis, not only for the youth session tonight. Be available for these next 4 nights also. Inshallah, his topic will also address your concerns and requirements that we have in this community, inshallah. Request for the Fatiha for the sponsors of tonight, Tabarruk, and also remember all those recent Shuhadas anywhere in the world, volunteers that are no longer with us, Marhumin of the Hazreen, Kul Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, Muslimin and Muslimat. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Also, a couple of other announcements from the youth or the children's group we have. If you have been part of those events that we have for the small kids, children's, one of the events, upcoming events, it will inshallah will be on next Sunday, which will be the children's Arbaeen walk. It will be on Sunday, 17th of August, age group between 2 and 9. And only mothers are allowed. If I can request only moms to be here with the kids, not the fathers. The timing is from 3 to 5 p.m. and there is a registration process. So if you can have your child registered until 14th of August. We have been circulating those through the newswire, and upcoming days inshallah I'll be keeping up again those reminders for the children's program. So this for children's age between 2 and 9 for the annual Arbaeen walk. Also tonight we have Al-Ain Social Care Foundation table set up for on the ladies side. So if you want to drop your donation box, or if you want to pick up a box, this way you can donate on regular basis your sadaqas or every day, whatever you take. and then you can bring the box. Once these boxes are filled, you can drop them and take the empty box. So this desk is set up on the ladies' side. And now with your loud salawat, I'll request Sayyid Al Imran to come to the minbar. Bar Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد والثناء لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين. اللهم أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى في كتابه المجيد وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل سيروا في الأرض فانظروا كيف بدأ الخلق ثم الله ينشئ النشأة الآخرة إن الله على كل شيء قدير. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. First and foremost, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity to congregate together during these nights, during these evenings, where we are heading and moving towards the day of Arbaeen of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the opportunity to be here and to spend a little time to, inshallah, discuss something that can be beneficial for myself and for all of you. Also would like to thank the committee, the organizers of the Razavi Center, for having me and inviting me here, inshallah. I hope that these lectures are beneficial for all of us. Last few years I have not been able to give lectures during Arbaeen because I have not been in the country or been busy with other commitments. But the last time I gave Arbaeen lectures, it was at the Masumeen Center, and I had just had come back from Qom, maybe been a year. And I was involved with the Al-Hadi School project at that time, and I decided to speak about the objectives of education. That was my series, 3-4 years ago. Alhamdulillah, I got a lot of good feedback from that. Objectives of education was the idea that when I'm sitting on this minbar and I'm presenting a topic, what is my ultimate goal? What am I trying to get out of you guys, the audience? Is it just for entertainment, or is there supposed to be some purpose of all of this, right? And I started with a question, and my question was, this inquiry that I was trying to tackle was that we commemorate 2 months, 9 days every year all around the world, and we have hundreds and thousands of lectures, majalis, in every language. And if you go back home to India, Pakistan, Iran, Africa, these countries, you have non-stop programs in every gully, every kuche, every street. There's lectures happening. And I said that on the one hand, we say that this minbar, this Azadari is the University of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. It is an educational institute. But I said, on the other hand, I realized and I noticed that when I look at these academic universities, Harvard and Yale and UFT and so on, that sometimes they will produce 1-2 papers, 1-2 PhDs and thesis, and they can change the entire dynamic of the entire society. The entire political framework will change because these academics come, they will write some theory, they will write some paper. So I said, how is it that on the one hand, these universities, these educational institutes can change the whole world with one idea, one research, one paper, and here we are lecturing non-stop, like it never ends. It never ends. And yet nothing is changing actually in our communities. Sometimes you're like, it's going backwards. More splits are happening, more communities are being broken apart, akhlaq is getting worse and worse, children are being more and more lost. So I use that as a point to say that either the problem is in the speakers, or the problem is in the audience, or the problem is in this format, like something is wrong. Okay. So inshallah, these lecture series are online, you can watch those. And I explain aslan, what is the point of coming on the mimbar and speaking, and why changes are not happening, and why, at least for me personally, I felt schooling and education is the top priority. Of course, this is now even from the Maraj's daftar. The Maraj have also said the same thing. Inshallah, this Arbaeen series, I will look at that same question from a slightly different angle, because that question has many different solutions. So inshallah, that will be the topic for the next couple of nights. Before I go into that, I want to give some more muqaddamat, some more preliminaries, inshallah. If you try the salawat, inshallah. Look, insan, humans, all of us are social beings. Okay, from the moment we come on in this world, we are connected to other humans. Immediately, we are connected to our parents, our mother, maybe our siblings, and by extension, our extended family. Just by the mere birth of me, I'm already connected. And many of these connections are out of my hand. I didn't choose my mother, I didn't choose my parents, I didn't choose my sibling, I didn't choose my uncle and auntie and grandparents, I didn't choose any of this. These were, by the very nature of my birth, certain relationships I have to be with till the end of my life. My mother will always be my mother. There's no way that you can break this relationship. But of course, we have many relationships that we build throughout our entire life. For example, for a young child, maybe the first proper relationship will be when they go kindergarten, they will make a relationship with their teacher. So a student-teacher relationship gets built. Then in those settings, they start making friends, and they start learning new things from these friends, and so on. Different relationships get built. So we are, at the end of the day, social beings. Now, if you look at the average Muslim community here, and the Muslim youth, and the generation that has been here, there are, mashallah, many of them identify as Muslims. They come to the majalis, they come to Azadari, they come all year to different programs. But when they step out of these centers, they don't seem to have any clarity on their function beyond the rituals that they engage in inside here. Okay, they don't seem to have any clarity. Okay, my deen aspect, I come to the masjid, I pray, or I attend an event, or I come to Dua Kumel, or I do a majlis, and then that's it, like that's my deen. Once I come out, I'm like the rest of the society here. I'm like the rest of society. So if people are following a certain trend in clothing, I will follow the same trend. If people are following a certain type of language and speaking, I will follow the same speaking. If people are following a certain music trend, I will listen to the same music trend. If people are following a certain trend on Instagram, I will follow the same trend. An average Muslim kid is not any different than any other non-Muslim kid in terms of their mindset, their purpose, their objective. I have to grow up, I have to pass my degrees, my high school, get a degree, get a job, and then live, get married maybe later on. And you know that this society, when it pushes this ideology, it creates a very depressing state in individuals. People are depressed, people have mental health issues, people have all sorts of trauma and this and so on and so forth. Our Muslim community also goes through the same, because we're not challenging these norms, we're not questioning even these norms. We're part and parcel of this society. And I'm not saying just in the West, like anywhere in the world it's the same. Most people don't think critically like that. So this is the issue that we are in. But at the same time, you will notice that the moment certain assumptions about your beliefs, about your customs, begin to get questioned, either you don't have an answer for it, or maybe you do have an answer, maybe you do have an answer, but you cannot respond because you don't have the capacity to respond. You don't even have the intellectual capability to respond. And in fact, sometimes if the questions and the critiques and concerns are from, let's say, within, let's say within our own mazhab, people start questioning certain things. Or in the greater Muslim community, let's say the Ahlul Sunnah, Sunnis, they start questioning certain things. Our response is very aggressive. Shoot them down, and you're horrible, and you're going to hell, and that's how we respond. We don't have the etiquettes to even engage in a conversation. Brothers and sisters, a lot of this has to do with the way we think. The way we think about our deen, and the way we think about aslan the purpose of this deen. This is the unfortunate reality. The way we think about our deen and the function of the deen and my function is a tribalistic type of thinking. Tribalistic. I don't mean by tribalistic like your khandan. No. What I mean is that I'm a Shia and I have 100% of the haqq, truth, and anyone other than me does not even have 1% of any share in the reality of the truth. This is how we think. Even though I'm using their phone, I'm using their technology, I'm using their vaccines, I'm using all of their other people's solutions for my life. I'm using the solutions that other people came up for my life, meaning they have some share of the reality. But the way I think is that no, these people have not even smelled the scent of haqq, and I have the whole haqq. So the way we speak, the way we think, the way we make decisions, the way we make choices for our individual selves, for our families, and then more importantly for our community is very tribalistic. If I'm in a community, I don't think, hey, how am I in my community? How am I contributing to Canadian society? This is not a question. Many communities don't even care about this question. Who cares? As long as our community center is running, and I'm the ruler of it, or I'm in the executives, or I'm in this leadership position, and things are running, people are happy, people are doing their customs and rituals, it's running. We say, look, it was packed this Muharram. Okay, but what is your significance and relevance in this part of the world that you're living in? We don't think like this because we are tribalistic. What is the opposite way of thinking? The opposite way of thinking, brothers and sisters, is what they call a civilizational way of thinking. Thinking universally. That, hey, my deen didn't just come for me and my ethnicity and my language and my culture. It didn't just come for me. It came for everyone, for all times and places. I will give you an example. I was in Australia for Muharram. MashaAllah, I'm enjoying my trips to Australia. It was the third time. It's a very unique experience. You go to the bottom of the planet, you're here in summer, I was enjoying the winter, 10 degrees, no snow, nothing. And there are some maraji who say kangaroos are halal to eat. And some maraji say it's not halal to eat. Ihtiyat or haram or whatever. So I was with some brothers. And one of the scholars that I look up to, he says kangaroos are halal to eat. So some of these brothers said, no, we should do ihtiyat, and then maybe this mujtahid, his views are not good. Why should we eat kangaroo? We should do ihtiyat. And I said, forget the discussion and the conclusion. I just have one question for you. Just think about this for a moment. If Islam had come in Australia, or if the Muslims had come to Australia before the British, what would they eat? Because there was no cattle, no sheep, no camels, no cows in Australia until 150, 200 years ago. Okay. The British brought the sheep in the 1700s, and they brought the cows, and they brought the camels in 1836. Okay, very recent. So for tens and thousands of years, if you were a Muslim in Australia, in that land, what would the Prophet tell you to eat? And you can't eat most of the birds because they're parrots. So even parrots, you say, is haram to eat. So kya khaoge aap? Kya khaoge? Machli khaoge sari zindagi. You're going to eat fish and chicken. Now, I'm not saying give a fatwa conclusion. I'm saying think a little bit. What will you do? And the brothers were like, oh, that's a pretty interesting way to think about things. I was like, yeah, it's an interesting way to think about it. We have ulama of the past, Shia and Sunni, who said, don't travel to the North Pole. Okay? Not today, this is old ulama. They said, don't travel to the North Pole. They said, because why? Why can you not travel to the North Pole? They said, if you travel to the North Pole, how are you going to pray 5 times a day? The sun doesn't set for 6 months. This is a view. This is the views of the Sunni, and also I'm saying some of the Shia ulama of the past. They said, hey, how are you going to pray? We know you have to pray 5 times a day. The sun does not set for months. So there's no way you can only pray Fajr once a year, Zuhr once a year, Asr once a year, Maghrib once a year. No, this cannot happen. So therefore you should not travel to the west and to the North Pole. I just want you to think about something. If you are thinking like this, is this a thinking that says Islam is for all times and places? This is not a... Aslan, that means Islam is not for the North Pole. Islam is not for Antarctica. That's what this means. So because of this, I cannot go to Antarctica, but the West can go to Antarctica, take over, install their research bases, do their research, install their military barracks, launch their satellites, take over the world, destroy me, bomb me, take all my... They can do all of that, but I cannot go because, hey, how am I going to pray 5 times a day? Something isn't making sense, man. Okay? Something's not making sense for the last 200 years. How do we get to this stage? And believe me, brothers and sisters, the Muslims of the past were not thinking like this. This is very recent. I've done, as I said, a lot of research on this. And this is what I want to talk about. Why are we thinking like this? Many times, we talk about the problems. And that's fine. You need to acknowledge the problems, number one. But a lot of my research for the last 6 years is kind of moved beyond that. And I started to question and think about why were Muslims thinking like this? This is more important to figure out so you can change your thinking. You know, in 1600s, the West changed the model from the geocentric model to the heliocentric model. Copernicus and Galileo, and the printing press was invented, so they published their theories. They said, hey, for the tens and thousands of years that the humans believe that the earth is at the center of the universe, we changed the map. The earth is not the center, the sun is at the center. Okay. These European travelers are coming into Ottoman Turkey. They are coming and traveling into Safavid Iran. You cannot find one elite, one scholar, one mujtahid, one Shah of Iran or Shah of the Sultan of Ottoman Empire asking even, hey, we've heard you've changed the entire Naqsha and the map of the universe, galaxy. Tell me a little bit about it. Not one person asked. No one's interested. Question is, why are they not interested? The Europeans are telling them, hey, we changed, we look at things differently. No, you're a kafir. What do you know? Look, our ahadith say the earth is at the center of the universe. Their mind was locked somewhere else. I'm telling you facts. Look at these stats. The printing press, as you know, very famous invention. It was invented in 1455, long time ago, 5 centuries ago, by Gutenberg. 1455. The first printed book in the Ottoman Empire was by the Jews and the Armenians in 1493. So 40 years later, not by Muslims. Muslims, you know, they said it was not allowed. The first printing press in the Ottoman Empire was in 1729. 300 years later. 300 years later. The Muslims said, okay, let's make a printing press. Question isn't that did the Muslims know about it? No, they knew about it. Printed books were coming into the Muslim world. In India, the first printed book was by the Portuguese in 1556. The Muslims printed the first book in India in 1808. 300 years later. In Iran, the first printed book was 1638. The Muslims printed the first book in 1818. Okay? Guys, the Europeans were actually gifting printed books to the kings and the rulers. They were gifting them. So it's not that they didn't know, they knew. But nobody was interested. Why? Because they're kuffar. And they don't know anything. Oh, they think they made something special. We will make something better than them. But they never did. Muslims never built something better than that. They had to copy. Ultimate question, brothers and sisters, is why? This is the most difficult question to figure out. Why were they not interested? Why did they not try to learn and take and improve it? Like the earlier ulama, as they say, the golden age of Islam. Okay, whether that term is correct or not. But golden age, Ibn Sina and these guys, Abu Rayhan, Biruni and Farabi and all these ulama that came. Okay, I agree, even their philosophy was coming from Greek philosophy. I know this. But they didn't just stick to that. They improved. They took it to a next level. They took that philosophy, took that logic, took that science and took it to a different level. And they brought in their own Islamic flavor to it. There are Greek philosophical works that are preserved today only in the Arabic language. I did one research on, Pythagoras' theorem. All of the kids learned in grade 7, 8. Pythagoras' theorem. One of the research I did in Hausa was actually on Pythagoras. He has a poem. So he was a mystical type of a person. He has a poem where he would tell his students to memorize this poem and then he will teach you the philosophy and the math and whatnot. That poem does not exist in their language. It exists in Arabic with a commentary on it by the Muslims. The Muslims wrote Sharh on Pythagoras' poem in the year 300, 4th century Hijri. So what happened from this to this? What happened? This is the ultimate question. A lot happened. Okay, a lot happened. I'm not going to go into the history of that so much, but I'm going to give at least an exposition of what we need to do to change our mindset. Look, there are two things that you should know. One is culture, one is civilization. Civilization is the outer manifestation of something. Okay? If I say, hey, in the Islamic civilization, this and this was happening. This is the outside world. Technology, family life, how offices are managed, how politics is managed. The internal side of it is called culture. So culture is actually within you. Your beliefs, your values, the way you think. This is culture. And the outside of that, it manifests, is called civilization. Your culture dictates your civilization. Meaning, if you have a poor culture, if your beliefs are weak, if your values are weak, if your beliefs are not changing and updating to the time and place, your civilization will become stagnant. Because time is always moving. The world is always moving, changing. And the main difference between earlier Muslim civilization and the last 200-year one is this, the stagnation that happened. The earlier Muslims, firstly, they had no fear of things coming into their Muslim world. Greek philosophy, okay, let it come. Let's see, what do they have to say? This Persian poetry, Persian philosophy, let it come. Let's see, what do they have to say? We'll read it. We'll critique it. We'll refine it. We'll give it something better. Astronomy, okay, let's read it. Let's study it. We'll make something better out of it. The later generations didn't think like this. Okay? And things kept moving, the world kept moving. And of course, colonization was happening, the British were taking over the Dutch, and all of that was happening on the other side. But we weren't moving. Our ideas were not changing. And we made this barrier that, hey, we are on the haqq, 100%, and others don't even have a share of it. That's going to destroy you, which it did, ultimately. It ruined the whole Islamic civilization and ruined the whole beauty of it. So culture is very key, and culture dictates the tamaddun, which is a civilization. I'm going to quote, inshallah, tonight, two transcriptions and two excerpts from Ayatollah Sayyid Khamenei's speeches. Because in Iran, since revolution, they have pushed a lot of this idea of tamaddun, civilization. And they said, hey, aslan, our goal today, our function that I was talking about, our function today is to revive this civilization. To revive it, we have to rebuild it, recreate it. But I'm gonna show you what does he say. I will read through it so you get an idea. This is just two of his speeches. Many speeches have been given and many books have been written in Iran, in Farsi, about this topic. This first excerpt that I'm reading is from a couple months ago. It was the 100-year anniversary of the Hawza of Qom, few months ago. Some of the ulama from Toronto, they also went. 100-year anniversaries. Sayyid Khamenei wrote a letter for this conference. Okay. In that letter, there's a section where he says civilizational innovation. And he is talking about the Hawza. He's saying, what is the Hawza supposed to be doing? But look, I'm saying expand this beyond the Hawza. Don't just blame the bichare ulama. All of us are responsible. All of us, community builders, community leaders, all of us are responsible for this. He says, the establishment of the Islamic civilization is the highest worldly aim that we have. So there are some aims in the akhirah, heaven, closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but there are also some dunyawi aims. I don't know, what is this idea that, we don't care about the dunya? No, we care about dunya. Our dunya has to be good so that we can live also spiritually. So many narrations that says faqr, poverty, leads to kufr. When you are poor, the last thing on your mind is namaz and roza. Why do you want to put roti on your table? That's your main concern. He says the highest aim is the civilization. It refers to a civilization in which knowledge, technology, human and natural resources, all human capabilities and advancements, as well as governance, politics and military power, are employed to serve justice, public welfare, reducing class disparities, advancing spiritual cultivation, promoting scientific excellence, and deepening our understanding of nature and strengthening faith. Now this is happening he's saying this in a national level. For brothers and sisters, I believe every single center that exists here in North America, wherever, this is also your responsibility in a small scale. Yes, you don't have a country to run, but you have a community to run, right? Are we thinking about these issues as a community? There are members of a community, there's people living in localities. What about their social justice, reducing class disparities, advancing their spiritual cultivation, promoting scientific excellence? There are masajid that I know of in America, let's say. Masalan, they have coding classes for kids. This is very good. Have you ever thought about doing something like that? Everyone's talking about coding or AI now. Okay. Why not set up classes like that in your community? Teach your kids. I'm sure there are professionals in the field that will do it for free. They'll volunteer their time because this is an important skill to have. Digital literacy. Islamic civilization is based on Tawheed and its personal, spiritual and societal dimensions. It is grounded in respect for humanity by virtue of being human. Meaning, I respect you not because you are Muslim or Shia or a man or a certain amount of money that you have. No, I respect you because you're an insan. You're a human. Not by gender, race, language, ethnicity or geography. It's built on justice. An Islamic civilization stands in opposition to today's materialistic civilization. The material civilization which, brothers and sisters, we live within it, began with colonization, land grabs, and the humiliation of weaker nations, the mass slaughter of indigenous people, the use of science to dominate others. They do taraqi, they advance in science, but they use it to dominate people and oppress people. Oppression, falsehood, tyranny, and over time, their civilization has been afflicted with moral decay and lewd behavior and deviancy, and it grew within it. This is the ultimate conclusion of a materialistic civilization that does not believe in the akhirah. Today, the fully mature and corrupt version of this twisted structure can be seen in some of the Western countries and their followers. Peaks of obscene wealth next to valleys of hunger and poverty. Power-hungry tyrants bullying whoever they can. And we are witnessing this for many years, especially in the last 3 years. Science being used for mass killing. Because science is just a tool. It doesn't have any moral value. Morality is coming from you. I can take a knife and I can do something good with it. I can do something bad with it. There's nothing wrong with the knife. So now they're developing and going advanced in science. But what are they using for? They're using it to do mass killings. Corruption in families. Even children are being corrupted. He's talking about family structures. And so on. Unprecedented cruelty and injustice in cases like Gaza and Palestine. But he says, this false civilization will eventually vanish because all batil falls. وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَهَقَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَحُوقًا. Says, hey, this is going to fall eventually, and if you're within it, you're going to fall within it. So what is your duty? Look, he's telling us the function. He's telling you what is your function. Function is number one, to assist in critiquing this falsehood. There's a civilization that has problems. Critique it. Don't just adopt it fully and just worship it. Critique it. And second, prepare a replacement civilization. Are you ready for replacing this? Do you have an alternative? That's the problem. We don't even have an alternative. You have to think about it. You have to replace it both intellectually and practically. And don't say, oh, other people before us couldn't do it, so neither can we. So this is a fallacy. Whoever goes forward with planning and sabr, they will succeed. This second one is even more important, brothers and sisters. This is from 2012. And he is talking to the youth. But once again, it's a message for everyone. It's a very long speech. I'm just focusing on something very key. Muslims, ever since last couple centuries when we got colonized and our nations were broken apart, we started to cope with it by saying, hey, all of these advancements, they don't really mean much. At least, I'm a believer, I will go to akhirah. All of these advancements, they don't mean much. No, brothers and sisters, advancements, even in the worldly sense, it's important. Muslims were advancing in the past. This is, as they say on, these kids say on as a slang, like copium. You're just coping with the fact that you have been destroyed. You're just coping, saying, yeah, we don't need to advance physically. No, who said? Who said that? Where did you get this from? He says one of the dimensions of progress. So this whole speech is about progress in your life, in the dunya. He says one of the dimensions of progress within Islam is your lifestyle. How do you live? Your social behavior. And this is important. Living a comfortable life is important because it is a life endowed with psychological and moral security. Majority of us immigrated, or our parents, because these two things were missing. Right? Psychological security and no moral security. You need to bribe to get things done. Tomorrow, your property will be taken away. Someone will come and snatch you, and some dictator will come and take this. There's no security. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I cannot predict my life. That's why we escaped. And he says paying attention to this is very important. He says, look, if you look at the idea of progress in the formation of the new Islamic civilization, there is a tangible and external example, okay? And that is, there's a instrumental part, okay? And there's a software part. This is how he calls it. What is the instrumental part? He says the instrumental part is like a tool. It is the part that consists of the tools that we consider as progress. Like what? Science, invention, industry, politics, economics, military power, international credibility, advertising. These are all instrumental tools. For example, it's like me buying a computer. Okay, I bought a laptop, I bought a PC. But that's not enough. You have to install some softwares on that PC for that PC to have some meaning. Otherwise, I can buy the most expensive laptop, most expensive computer, but if it does not have the right apps on it or right softwares on it, it's a useless piece of like junk actually. There's no point in me using it, right? You buy a PC. If you want to buy a gaming computer, you need to install a different chips in it and whatnot. He says, hey, these are fine. These are and he says, yeah, we have made good progress in this. But the real part consists of the things that make up the essence of your life, which is the same lifestyle that we're talking about. This is the real part of civilization, not the optics and the artifacts. We have a big building, we have big parking lot, we have a big center, this is fine. What is happening to the people and their lifestyle? Is it changing? He says the real part of civilization is the issue of family, marriage, type of housing, type of clothing, consumption patterns, type of food, type of cooking, recreation, the issue of literacy, the issue of language, the issue of jobs, our behavior at work, our behavior at university, our behavior at school, our behavior in political activity, our behavior in sports, in the media, with our parents, with our spouse, with our children, with our boss, with our subordinates, people who are lower than us, with the police, with the government officials, our travels, our cleanliness, our behavior with our friends, our behavior with our enemies, with the strangers. He says this is matan of human, this is the text of human life. This is what is the real part. And as I said in the presentation I gave for the youth before the Majlis, I was talking about this. I said this is the main point of the deen. Not some habitual ritual that we do all year long. This is the main part. This is what the Prophet came to fix. It was a society, Jahiliyyah society. What was their problem? That they didn't pray? They were doing ibadah. They were worshipping the idols. So they already had some form of worship. That wasn't even the problem. He said, what about all this other Jahiliyyah khurafat that you are in? Burying your daughters and oppressing your woman and all of the issues, fighting over some petty issues for 100 years. He said, this is the main problem. This is the main thing he tried to fix. The new Islamic civilization that we want to present is made up of these things. This is what in Islam we call the practical intellect, the practical side of things. We are just stuck in theories. I am better than the Sunnis because I believe in imamat. Okay, bro, but what have you there to show? I am better than all of the world because I believe in walayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Okay, but what do you have to show? What is the difference? Like, there should be a difference in the way you appear and look and what you can produce if you believe in walayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. If there's no difference or you are worse, then your belief is irrelevant. Kya karu main is belief ko? Life. I believe in Imam Ali, and here you are being born for 150 years. So that means the belief is irrelevant. Like, belief is not real belief. It's just a concept in my mind that I'm just worshipping this concept non-stop. It should have some practical impact in my life. And we have many narrations from Imam Baqir alayhi salam about this. He says this is the software aspect of the civilization. This is what you need to install. Okay, so you have a belief, but now install the softwares. If we do not progress in this part, which is the substance of your life, all the advancements you have made in the first part cannot redeem us. You can buy the most expensive military equipment. Saudi Arabia buys the military equipment. They don't know how to use it. What are they going to do with it? Right? You can buy the fighter jets. You need training to use it. So you need to progress intellectually to be able to even to use the tools that you have. They cannot grant us any psychological security and peace. If you don't have the correct software installed, it will result in depression, despair, internal collapse, lack of security in society and family, aimlessness. What's my purpose? I have this cool shiny car, I have this cool shiny amazing car, but doesn't have an engine, doesn't have petrol, it's just there. I can't do anything with it. I have a crazy big center, but all year is empty. Okay, so what do you want me to do with the center? It's empty, nobody's coming to the center. There's no programs, no innovation, no creativity. Okay, so I'm sorry to say that's wasted money. Despite the wealth and nuclear bombs and various scientific advancements and military power, you will still have depression and despair. And the main issue is that we as Muslims should be able to reform the substance of life. This is the main part. Who is responsible to change this? He says the elites, the people who are at a position of power, position of intellectual capabilities, they are responsible. Seminaries are responsible. Universities are responsible. Media is responsible. The administration of the system, they are responsible. Especially those dealing with culture, education, training, they are responsible. So let's say if you have a center, if you have a school or a center, part of the job of a center is also these things, cultural aspects, training, education. So you are responsible. People who make the curriculum, people who do all of this stuff. Okay. And then he goes on. He gives many more examples. He says, why is the divorce rate so high in the country? Why are youth going towards drugs? Why don't we have the correct behavior with our neighbors? Why is the sila rahim so weak? Why are we not disciplined in our driving culture? Obviously, talking about Iran. But it's an issue for us, even us in our administration of how we run businesses, organizations. Finding loopholes, whatever. The processes have to be set in place. And so on. Healthy recreation and architecture. He's saying, look how diverse these issues are and topics are. And all of these were part of the Islamic civilization. When you go to Mashhad, at least one of the main entrances, you won't believe it. It was designed by Sheikh Bahai, who's buried in Mashhad. Sheikh Bahai, you would say, okay, he's a Maulana. What is Sheikh Bahai? He's doing fiqh and ahkam and rijal and falsafa and these discussions. No, he was the architect of that place, of one of the entrance gates. That means these guys were so expert even in architecture. Meaning they believe that me as a part of the civilization, part of my faith and belief, I have something to say and share even in this field. As an example I'm giving. Now we are dead and aimless. We have nothing to contribute in this field. Because we don't have a culture. Our culture is not one of thinking. How much is our current architecture in line with our needs? How is our clothing designed? How is the issue of makeup amongst men and women? How beneficial is it, this whole makeup industry that has been launched for the last 100 years? What is the negative impacts of this? Do we have an alternative? How is our relationship in the markets, in the office place, our daily interactions? Why do we talk behind people's back? Why are some people who are able to work, why are they lazy? Why are they not working? And so on and so forth. Okay. How much do we respect the law? Look at this. Why are we told that the productive hours of work in our administrative are low? 8 hours of work should have 8 hours of benefit. 1,000 lectures in the summer of Muharram and Safar should have 1,000 hours of benefit, productivity. I'm getting it from him. Imagine that you have 1,500 people here, all of you have spending time, 2-3 hours. Calculated, hundreds of hours you're spending here. Hundreds of hours should have some return on it. Don't just say, it's an ibadah and in akhirah I will get a sawab. Bro, you've earned enough sawab, inshallah, since bachpan you've been attending. You've secured it, don't worry, inshallah. You'll go to heaven. What about this dunya? They don't. La tansa nasibaka min ad-dunya. Allah says in the Quran, don't forget your share of the dunya. And don't just say, akhirat alone is enough. No, you need both. 4th century philosopher said, Ibn Hamdun, La yusal ila deen illa bid dunya. You cannot get to the deen and you cannot become mutadayyin illa bid dunya, through the dunya. Because Allah has put you in this world. This is the place to become religious. Our mindset has to change. Anyway, it's a long speech from Sayyid Khamenei. You can read it, inshallah, if anybody wants the link in English. I have the whole thing translated, it's online. These are the questions, brothers and sisters. This is called universal thinking, civilizational thinking, not petty discussions that we have been stuck with for many years, many decades, many centuries. Okay, I have seen people fight even over the details of Masa'ib. Did Imam Hussein go with Hazrat Abbas, or did Imam Hussein not go with Hazrat Abbas? Bro, what are you talking about? Like, you're fighting over this? I'll tell you, okay, we don't know. Let's say we don't know. How does that impact literally anything in my life? Some of you are smiling because I'm sure you've probably seen it. Like, I've seen it myself. Okay, people fight over this. Bro, where's your mind? You think you're gonna solve the problems of the modern world when you're fighting over this? You're not. So your mindset has to change. Your thinking has to change. Inshallah, now, as today was the muqaddama, I will now explain what will be the series about. Next 3-4 nights, inshallah. So I started off with the idea that, hey, we are always in relationship with others. One of the ways I believe you can solve this problem, you can begin to solve this problem, is how we look at other people. Because if you notice, I said, hey, look, the Europeans were coming, but they said, hey, these are kuffar. So that means they're looking at them at a lens that they're like, these are useless people. We don't want anything from them. So something about the way we look and the way we analyze and the way we interpret people is going to become important. And I want to quote this narration from Nahjul Balagha, and that will be my thesis for this 4 days. This wasiyah of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He says, "Ay bunayya." Okay, some say it's to Imam Hassan, some say to Muhammad Hanafiya, doesn't matter. Ay bunayya, oh my son, wa in lam akun umirtu umra man kana qabli. Even though my life is not as long as some of the people who have passed away before me, but faqad nazartu fi a'malihim. But I did nazar, I looked and I observed their behavior and their actions. Okay, I was looking at people. I was observing them. وَفَكَرْتُ فِي أَخْبَارِهِمْ. And I did tafakkur, I thought about the things that I've heard about them. People have told me, masalan, in the Persian Empire, people were like this. People in the Roman Empire, people were managing the politics like this. I thought about it. وَسِرْتُ فِي آثَارِهِمْ. And I did say, I analyzed, I traveled, and I tried to figure out what was their heritage. These people are non-Muslims that Imam Ali is talking about. Okay, I learned about them, I figured out what it was. حَتَّى عُدْتُ كَأَحَدِهِمْ. Until I became as if I was one of them. Okay. Until I became as if I was one of them. And then it goes on. And I took the benefit from them, and I stayed away from the harm that was in. And so, inshallah, I will come back to this in the last lecture. But I will be using this as my premise for the next 3 nights. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, I did nazartu fi amalihim. I looked at people. I looked at what they are doing. So inshallah, we're gonna look each night on how can you look at other people's actions and behavior and incidents, and how should you interpret it. The way we look at people and the way we interpret people, is it the way Imam Ali is doing or no? For example, tomorrow inshallah, we will talk about the fact that, hey, sometimes many of us, because we live in a sort of consumeristic society, we look at people's amal and we look at them from the perspective of what they have. This is all we care about. Oh, that person has 2 cars, that person has a big house, that person has this, that person has a nice car, that person has these clothes. And that's all we care about. That's how we analyze people. This is going to be tomorrow, inshallah, talk about it. And we'll talk about whether this is a good way of looking at people or is it negative. And if it's negative, how does it impact the progress of your community? Because this impacts the progress of your community. A second way we look at people, many of us, is from the perspective of finding flaws. This, mashallah, is very common in communities. Finding flaws. We look at people and we are waiting for them to make a mistake. If they don't make a mistake, we'll find one, don't worry. We will do tajassus, we will spy on them, we will get to the bottom of it, we'll find something wrong with them. This is the way we look at people. If you are looking like people in this lens, are you ever going to grow? You're ever going to progress? Inshallah, we will analyze this. A third way we look at people is from the perspective of taqleed, meaning blind imitation. You are doing things, you're like, and you have no clue why you're doing it. You're like, yeah, my forefathers did this. Like the Jahil Arabs. They said, hey, our forefathers have been doing this, we're going to do it as well. We're going to analyze this one in a bit more depth. So this one will be its own lecture because it's a little bit deeper. And I will inshallah quote many things, many examples. And then the last one we will look at, hey, what if we didn't look at people like this? And we looked at people from the perspective of learning. What if I change my lens? And I said every person, even the evil people, I look at them from the perspective of learning. What can I learn from this? Whether good or bad. If it's bad, I will take ibrat from it. If it's good, hey, I will take it, I will accept it, and maybe with my tradition, I will make it better. That's another lens. So inshallah, each night, we will look at this, and we will look at each lens, and each of these, the first three lenses are very prevalent in our communities. Consumerism, what do people have? We follow the trends. Oh, this person has this car, this person has this house. We get jealous, we get greedy. This is where the hubbud dunya comes in. That. Second is finding flaws in people all the time. That's another way. Third is just blind imitating people who shouldn't even be followed. That's another lens. These are the three dominant ways we look at people. But the way we should look at people, which is the way of learning, inshallah, that will be the conclusion for this series, inshallah. So, inshallah, I hope that you guys can follow along. Any questions or any references that you guys need, inshallah, I can share with you guys. Even these speeches, they are online on my website. I can share with you later on, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Inshallah, we are commemorating the ayam of Zainabiyah. Sallallahu alaykum ya Ahl Bayt al-Nubuwah. Sallallahu alaykum ya Ahl Bayt al-Nubuwah. ومعدن الرسالة ومحبط الوحي وخزان العلم ومنتهى الحلم. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon you, my beloved Holy Prophet and his Ahlul Bayt, the household upon whom the angels would descend day in and day out. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Madloom. أيها الشهيد بكربلاء عطشانا. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon you, my beloved Imam al-Hussein, the Imam who was killed by the shores of the Euphrates while his mouth was dry of thirst. Sallallahu alayka ya Madloom. وصلى الله على قلب زينب الصبور وعلى لسانها الشكور. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon you, Ya Umm al-Masahib. O Lady Zainab, Salamullahi alayha. Brothers and sisters, we're here to commemorate the nights of Zainabiyya. Tonight we want to remember Masa'ib, all the calamities that befell Zainab, Salamullahi alayha. The Masa'ib of Zainab did not begin in Karbala, they did not begin in Sham. Brothers and sisters, the Masa'ib of Lady Zainab began in Medina. When on that night the people came to the door of her mother, the people came to the door of Lady Fatima. Zainab was just a young girl. Imagine watching her mother being disrespected in the city of Medina. Perhaps she would have heard the voice, the cries of her mother calling out, Ya Fidda, Khudini. Oh Fidda, hold my hand. These people are disrespecting me. Lady Zainab was there on the night her mother was being buried in the city of Medina. A few years later, she saw in the city of Kufa her father with the injured head, Amirul Mu'mineen. When he was being brought back to home, he says to his companions, he says to Imam al-Mujtaba, leave me alone. I don't want Zainab to see me in this state, being assisted by his friends, being assisted by his companions. Zainab, Salamullahi alayha, she had to see the injured head of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Brothers and sisters, a few years later, she saw Imam al-Mujtaba throwing up his internal organs because of the poison given to him, until she comes to Karbala. Brothers and sisters, she did not come alone. She brought her children with her. She brought Aun and Muhammad with her. On the day of Ashura, when all the Bani Hashim were going to fight, she sent her two sons, Aun and Muhammad. They went out, these two young boys, to go out. They fight the battle against the enemies. They fight a good battle until the enemies bring them down. Imam al-Hussein, he brings Aun and Muhammad, he brings their bodies back towards the Khiyam. They say all of the women and children were there crying on the bodies of Aun and Muhammad. But Zainab was not to be seen. Lady Zainab was not to be seen there. Brothers and sisters, she didn't want Imam al-Hussein to feel sorry, to feel bad, that because of him, that because of her, Imam al-Hussein had to see the pain of Zainab. Ala la'natullahi ala al-qawmi al-zalimin, wa saya'lamu alladhina ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون بأبي أنتم وأمي وأهلي ومالي وأولادي وأسرتي يا رسول الله يا Allah. We ask you to please accept this qaleel ibadat of ours tonight. Ya Allah, we ask you by the right of the tears of Lady Zainab to please forgive all of our sins tonight. And Ya Allah, we ask you to please assist all of the madlumeen, all of those who are being oppressed, all the Muslims, all the mu'mineen around the world who are being oppressed, come to their aid. Ya Allah, we ask you to please assist and support all the ulama, all the maraji, all of those who are helping to serve the cause of Islam, to please assist them. Ya Allah, we know the solution to all of our problems is the hastening of Imam al-Mahdi. We ask you to please enable us to be one of his close companions and hasten his reappearance, inshallah. Rahimallahu man qara al-Fatiha ma'a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. तेरा सीना नहीं लभदा बाबा मैं रुल गईया 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 इंज लथे हाय दूर मैंडे इंज लथे हाय दूर मैंडे हो ते कोरोना भुल गईया तेरा सीना नहीं लभदा बाबा मैं रुल गईया तेरा सीना नहीं लभदा बाबा मैं रुल गईया बाबा मैं कुशाम दे लोकां ने तेरे बाद कनीज़ी विच मंगया बाबा मैं कुशाम दे लोकां ने तेरे बाद कनीज़ी विच मंगया मैं गैरत सैयदां दी मैं गैरत सैयदां दी ऊ वेले मर गईया तेरा सीना नहीं लभदा बाबा मैं रुल गईया तेरा सीना बाबा मैं रुल गईया जड़ा गल तेरे ज़रबां चलियां मैं कोल खलो के डेंदी रही जदा गल तेरे ज़रबां चलियां मैं कोल खलो के डेंदी रही नहीं मिले असर तेरा नहीं मिले असर तेरा तरले कर दी रहिया तेरा सीना नहीं लभदा बाबा मैं रुल गईया तेरा सीना नहीं बाबा मैं रुल गईया दिता पहला पुरसा मकतल विच मैं कुशेमर लईन यतीमी दा दिता पहला पुरसा मकतल विच मैं कुशेमर लईन यतीमी दा इंज जालिम हथ चाया इंज हालिम हथ चाया मैं खाक ते झण पईया तेरा सीना नहीं लभदा बाबा मैं रुल गईया तेरा सीना नहीं लभदा शला कोई धी ना इंज गुजरे बेसर बाबे दी लाशो तू शला कोई धी ना इंज गुजरे बेसर बाबे दी लाशो तू
जिवें मैं रस्सियां पाके, जिवें मैं रस्सियां पाके तेरी लाश तू गुजरियां, तेरा सीना नहीं लभदा बाबा मैं रुल गईया, तेरा सीना नहीं लभदा बाबा मैं रुल गईया।
दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया, दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया। दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया। दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया। तुम माँ की तरह, तुम माँ की तरह लोरी सुना दो मुझे भैया। दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया। लगता है अंधेरे से डर तेरी सकीना को, लगता है अंधेरे से डर तेरी सकीना को। तुम सर मेरे बाबा का, तुम सर मेरे बाबा का दिला दो मुझे भैया। दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया। दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया। मैं 7 मुहर्रम से प्यासी हूँ मेरे भैया, मैं 7 मुहर्रम से प्यासी हूँ मेरे भैया। 2 बूंद होकर पानी, 2 बूंद होकर पानी पिला दो मुझे भैया। दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया। भैया मेरे कानों से अब तक है लहू जारी, भैया मेरे कानों से अब तक है लहू जारी। तुम आके जरा मरहम, तुम आके जरा मरहम लगा दो मुझे भैया। दुखते हैं मेरे कान सुला दो मुझे भैया, सुला दो मुझे भैया। या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन।
या हुसैन, या हुसैन, 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 या हुसैन, हुसैन, या हुसैन। मक्के में काबा मेरी जबी का है दिल का काबा, करबला में मक्के में काबा मेरी जबी का है दिल का काबा। करबला में मक्के में काबा मेरी जबी का है दिल का काबा। करबला में ऐ अब जमजम के पीने वालों, ऐ अब जमजम के पीने वालों कोई है प्यासा, करबला में मक्के में काबा, री जबी का है दिल का काबा, करबला में मक्के में काबा, मेरी जबी का। क्यों है बकिया में ये उदासी, रोज़ा मोहम्मद का क्यों है खाली, क्यों है बकिया में ये उदासी, रोज़ा मोहम्मद का क्यों है खाली, बेटे को रोने बाबा को लेकर, बेटे को रोने बाबा को लेकर आई है ज़ारा, करबला में मक्के में काबा, मेरी जबी मक्के में काबा, मेरी जबी। बच्चों को माएँ झूला झूला कर बतला रही हैं, झूला झूला कर, बच्चों को माएँ झूला झूला कर बतला रही हैं, लोरी सुना कर। 10वीं मुहर्रम को जल गया था, 10वीं मुहर्रम को जल गया था नन्ना सा झूला, करबला में मक्के में काबा, मक्के में काबा, मेरी जबी। जब मैं मदीने से करबला की जानिब चला तो आवाज आई, जब मैं मदीने से करबला की जानिब चला तो आवाज आई, पानी पिलाना क्योंकि है प्यासा मेरा निवासा, करबला में मक्के में काबा, में मक्के। मारा गया ये किसका मोहम्मद, इसका कलेजा छीदा गया क्यों, मारा गया ये किसका मोहम्मद, इसका कलेजा छीदा गया क्यों। बोले मुसलमान अपने नबी को, बोले मुसलमान अपने नबी को, हम ही ने मारा करबला में मक्के, जबी का है दिल का। बेहुरमती क्यों करते हो मेरी, आयत तो पढ़ते तत्हीर की तुम, रोया मुसलमान की गैरतों पर, रोया गैरतों पर ज़ैनब का पर्दा, करबला में मक्के में काबा, तेरी जबी का है दिल का काबा, करबला में। ऐ अब ज़मज़म के पीने वालों, ऐ अब ज़मज़म के पीने वालों, कोई है प्यासा करबला में मक्के में काबा, मेरी जबी दिल का काबा, करबला में मक्के में काबा, मेरी जबी का है दिल का काबा, करबला में। सलवात व सलाम आप पर फातिमा ज़हरा, सलवात व सलाम आप फातिमा ज़हरा, हम आए हैं पुरसे के लिए फातिमा ज़हरा, सलवात व सलाम फातिमा ज़हरा, हम आए हैं पुरसे के लिए फातिमा ज़हरा। कानों से सकीना के उतारे गए गौहर, कानों से सकीना के उतारे गए गौहर, ज़ैनब की बिछीनी है रिदा फातिमा ज़हरा, सलवात व सलाम फातिमा ज़हरा, हम आए हैं पुरसे के लिए फातिमा ज़हरा। ऐ रब्बे जहाँ पंचतन पाक का सदका इस कौम का दामन गम शब्बीर से भर दे, बच्चों को अता कर अली असगर का तबस्सुम, बूढ़ों को हबीब इब्न मज़ाहिर की नज़र दे, माओं को सिका सानी ज़ारा का सलीका, बहनों को सकीना की दुआओं का असर दे, बच्चों को अता कर वलवला औन मोहम्मद, हर एक जवान को अली अकबर का जिगर दे। ऐ रब्बे जहाँ तुझे सज्जाद का सदका, बीमार जो हैं उनको शफा याब तू कर दे। और जो चादर ज़ैनब की अज़ादार है मौला, महफूज रहें ऐसी ख्वातीन के पर्दे। मौला तुझे ज़ैनब की असीरी की कसम है, बेजुर्म असीरों को रिहाई की खबर दे। और गम कोई न दे हमको सिवाए गम शब्बीर, शब्बीर का गम बांट रहा है तो इधर दे। बार मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु। नाराए हैदरी।
औज़ुबिल्लाहिमिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम इन्नल्लाहा व मलाइकतहु यस्सल्लूना अलन नबी या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू सल्लु अलैहि व सल्लिमू तस्लीमा अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। इन्नमा युरिदुल्लाहु लियुज़हिबा अन्कुम रिज्सा अहलल बैति व युतहिरकुम तत्हीरा। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। अल्लाहु अकबर, अल्लाहु अकबर, अल्लाहु अकबर, अल्लाहु अकबर। अशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, अशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, अशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मदर रसूलुल्लाह, अशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मदर रसूलुल्लाह, अशहदु अन्ना अमीरल मोमिनीना व इमामल मुत्तकीना रिजम वलियुल्लाह वसीजो रसूलुल्लाह व खलीफतहु बिला फस्ल। अशहदु अन्ना अमीरल मोमिनीना व इमामल मुत्तकीना रिजम हुज्जतुल्लाह अलल खल्क वसीजो रसूलुल्लाह व खलीफतहु बिला फस्ल। हैया अलस सलाह, हैया अलस सलाह, हैया अलल फलाह, هيا على الفلاح هيا على خير العمل هيا على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله